Welcome, Summoners of the Rift, to episode number 74 of the Broken by Concept video podcast. World Finals, Curtis, a spectacle event of the year. It was Korea versus China. We'll kick it off there, Curtis.
We got to talk about it.
What did you think of the series, Curtis? Did it top? Last episode we talked about the SKT versus DWG. They're called DK now, I guess, series, and we thought it would be impossible to top, and we thought this would be the quickest 3-0 ever, and it would be, you know, it started at 11 o'clock p.m. for us, and we'd be thinking we'd be in bed by 1, you know, ready
I thought it would be to be honest, I thought it would be a 3-1.
Really?
I said 3-1.
Okay, 3-1.
Because, the players are good.
That's fair, yeah.
And to 3-0 is hard.
Yeah.
I think it's really difficult to do a 3-1. So, wow. I mean...
It's just another great series.
I think it was... I mean, the T1... Damwon was hyped for a different reason because they would scrim each other a lot, right? And Korea versus Korea, pretty big rivalry, two potential big dynasties. I mean, SKT already a dynasty, Damwon, potential dynasty if they can continue to win, which it looked like they were on track for. So I think that was an absolutely amazing series. But this one, I would say objectively is just more hype because it's the final. This is it.
Korea versus China.
Korea versus China hate each other. Huge rivalry.
Yeah.
And then, in a way, EDG, the underdog in many regards. People, not everyone, I would say the large majority of people thought Damwon were going to win, right? Because you got Showmaker Canyon, the best mid-jungle in the world, exceptional, experienced team, won Worlds, look on track to win again. And even from game one, just boom, EDG out the gates. Incredible League of Legends. And the biggest thing, and I'm going to say this time and time again. League of Legends has evolved into a game that just purely revolves around two concepts. Beat them to the punch and threat. And when you watch these two games, or 35 games, sorry, you look at, oh, wow. Like you said, the first thing you said to me, jungles are full clearing. Jarvan's and Xin full clearing. Not many ganks. Not many people dying to ganks. Relatively slowish games, I would say. I think game 4 was the only one that I would say was relatively fast paced. That was when JJ had the Viego pick and just ran over the game, and that was they got uncontested dragons, uncontested Rift Heralds, just completely snowballed the game. All of the other 4 games, I would say, were very slow. You would never expect the games to be played out like that based off the champs that were picked. And I remember looking at it, I'm like, people are going to misinterpret why these games are played slow. These players are operating at such a high level. There's mind games among mind games. It's like levels. So let's call it level 1, right? Not level 1 in game, just level 1 of a mind game. They know, let's take the mid v mid matchup, LeBlanc versus Ryze. Both of them are expecting a lot of action, Jarvan versus Xin Zhao. But then, if one of the junglers hovers around mid, and then the enemy mid laner just doesn't walk up, he gets behind, and if the other one does a full clear, they're going to get ahead, and they're probably going to have more options to do something else otherwise. And they want to be as efficient as possible. They don't want to waste time, right? But then, if they were... So all the mid laners and the laners top and bot were playing as if they could get ganked at every single moment. They're walking that tightrope flawlessly. And because they have so much control over their lanes, they have so much control over the wave, they have so much control, they know the trading patterns and all that sort of thing. They were always playing as if they could die, but never putting themselves in a position where they could. So they were permanently respecting that the junglers could gank them. So then what happened, the junglers were thinking, okay, well, I don't want to waste my time going here and not get a gank because I know the other jungler's going to full clear. But then, there was this constant mind game. So there was the mind games revolved around, will the laners play as if I'm here? Then it got to the point the laners are always going to play as if I'm there no matter what. So we're just going to full clear. So in any other region, in basically, maybe even in other same regions, just in different circumstances, the junglers would have played differently. More ganks would have happened, and it wouldn't have been played out like that. But there was so much respect You couldn't do a stock standard level 3 gank, or even a level 2 gank is probably deemed stock standard. You had to do some incredibly advanced creative things.
See, and this is my pickle with it. I need a lot of help here. And Curtis and I, we talked about this before, and I literally because I only watched the first game basically, right? And then I went to sleep because
and then you watched replay after. Yeah.
So I was just thinking about the entire game, and like I was wrestling in my bed thinking like there has to be some way. I know that there's levels of mind games, right? Can we go back to like the step one? Can we
just do the most basic thing?
Can we get Riser's Flash with LeBlanc, like Xin Zhao, LeBlanc, right? Like just some like I need everyone. Can everyone please just stop the podcast, go watch, try and figure out any way. I mean, obviously there's all this hindsight bias and all that sort of stuff, right? But I really wanted to. Like, I feel like I don't scrim with this sort of stuff. We don't watch scrims and stuff. We haven't been in this space, so I don't know like if that's something you could test out. But I'd love to test that out in a game. Like, I'll literally want to lose a world final just to test my theory out, dude. If I was in that position, maybe if I was in that position, but some sort of like level 2 gank, or like for Xin Zhao, like, red and like wait in the bush, or like wait for him to come ward. And we're talking about this, and you kept on telling me there's just no way Rise. You'll say it's even a stretch to burn his flash.
Well, how do I even know that they didn't ward level 1? They don't really know,
Yeah,
right?
you could figure that one out, though. You could literally run there and ward there out of base or
It's too
something.
theoretical, because the way I view it is like, it's game 1, the grand final.
Do something
you're gonna
fucking crazy.
You're going to do a level 2
yes,
gank mid.
dude, yes. I mean, maybe it's not necessary, and they are
because who's
confident.
going to gank a level 1 with like level 1 LeBlanc? Like, that just never happens.
Yeah, well, that's the exact idea. You throw him off guard, dude. And Xin Zhao, think about it, if you put a point in EQ, he's very strong.
They were probably confident scaling, because LeBlanc scales fine. Like, LeBlanc scales really well.
Really? See, if that's in SoloQ, I'm panicking, dude. If Rise doesn't, if I don't kill Rise at all,
this is the biggest. That's the biggest misconception. LeBlanc scales better than, I would say, 85% of mid laners in the game. With the new build, with Cosmic Drive, it's out of control.
Is it really?
It's really, really hard to deal with in mid game. They don't play LeBlanc as if like, oh my god, we got to get this right. I think, look, my issue with that first game was more the Yasuo pick, and like the draft in general. You got Rise beats LeBlanc in the isolated 1v1. The Jin and I think it was Jin. What was it? Jin something versus Zig something. The Jin lane was win 2v2. And then Graves into like Yasuo, sure. It's like, it's going to be completely fine, because Jarvan just exerts so much threat onto Yasuo. So Yasuo can't really push up aggressively. And Khan didn't look that comfortable in the Yasuo. So in a way, and Graves even had prior early, so it was like 3 winning lanes. And so in a way, I feel like EDG, their laners were so competent that, I mean, maybe it was a disrespect from Damwon. It's like, screw it, we have LeBlanc. Even if we play LeBlanc into Rise, it doesn't matter, because surely they're going to mess up. That there's going to be a window. And in the past, they probably could get away with that. But I mean, the laners were so competent. I mean, Viper, incredible, stepped up. JJ, but he's like a rookie, right? I'm pretty sure it was a rookie. It was his first year. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But he's like 19, incredibly. Just stepped up. Didn't look nervous at all. Flawless execution. No mechanical misplays. Hit every single smite. Went balls to the wall. Not scared of Canyon whatsoever.
The smite battles, game-winning, game-changing, dude. Like,
but the biggest thing I was going to say, like tying it back to mind games, like when say like, the average team would watch that, and you even your Clash team or collegiate team and say, oh, there's not much happening. It's slow. But slow in NA, from what I've seen, because I sometimes watch scrims and stuff like that, slow in even in OS and NA and things like that, from what I've seen, is very different to slow in these games, in the sense that they shouldn't be slow in OS and NA, because the laners are so incompetent and they don't know how to manage their waves properly, and they are susceptible to potentially dying to ganks. Whereas in this game, it was slow because the laners were playing flawlessly. If you actually look at Scout, the way he played like the 1v1, isolated 1v1, you look at just the top laner, what's in Flandre, it was some beautiful, beautiful threat assessment. Absolutely flawless.
I mean, Curtis, this makes me think, dude. So in 6 years' time, you're telling me that I'm never going to be able to gank a lane ever again in League of Legends.
That's
what it's like. I'm just sitting there just watching,
isn't about ganks, though. I don't feel like.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's just not. Right. Or it's about coordinated ganks where like someone has control over a wave and stacks a wave and dive.
So
for example, like you look at Game 5, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened in Game 5? I think it was Khan. He stacked like 3 waves, and then the what's it game? Canyon pathed up, and then they just walked up, and then Flandre lost like 3 waves, but he just gave it. He just walked all the way to his tier 2. He didn't die. That's as good as a gank as you're going to get. They're not going to die, but they're going to get zoned away from the tower. And then you just forced to reset, TP all the way back. He lost like 2 waves, I think it was. And then you burned his TP, and then you create like a TP advantage or something like that. That is like what the ganks, the pressure is meant to do.
It's setting up dives and stacking waves.
Yeah,
and stuff.
it's all that waves.
That's what the jungle plays
This
around.
is, and this is the thing is like the more I watch competitive, because I don't watch competitive play that much anymore. Like, I'll be honest. Like, I watch a bit of like the key games and worlds, but I didn't follow LPL or LCK religiously or LEC. I watch the odd game, but not really religiously. And the more I look at a game like this, yes, there's an element of team play, and I think the team play is very okay. I'm gonna put this very succinctly. I feel like there's 2 main aspects of team play when it comes to League of Legends. One is alignment, and that's my mantra. When I was a head coach, I want all 5 players to be aligned as possible. I want their view of the game and how we're going to win this game and how we're going to play this comp very aligned, and it's mainly in fights, which leads me to my second point is skirmishing and team fights. So there's like, how would you put it? When you play, what's one of the junglers that goes in and out, like an Elise or like a Lee Sin or something like that? What's one of those junglers that goes in and out all the time?
Blue Cane.
Blue Cane, or like Blue Cane, but even when you play Lee Sin or Elise, you don't just like dive in and then suicide. You're kind of like going in, getting a bit of damage, going out. Like there's like a feel, right? You're like teetering on the edge of like exerting a max amount of pressure and damage and threat while not just suiciding. You want 5 players to be able to do that at the exact same time during a fight. They need to know when they're going to go forward. They need to know when they're going back, and they know who to target and why. Yeah. But they're not talking about that.
No.
It's just, that's just, their team fighting is so good. They played with their view of the game is so aligned.
Team fighting is the pinnacle of League of Legends.
Yeah, team fighting
because there has to
game.
be a team fight. It is the game.
That is the game at that level. It is the game. It's like we're going to group on Rift, and whoever like.
Look, every single game.
It's just a fight on Rift.
8 minutes. There was a fight on Rift every single game.
I think it was apart from game 4.
Did you see in the pre-show what Beryl did in all the series leading up to it? Did you see what he did? This is insane, dude.
No, what did he do? Oh, the level 6
thing?
That was incredible.
He goes mid. He takes the wave to get level 6, and then he's
like
level
perfect.
6.
It was like
perfectly timed in terms of
and
one
then Showmaker
creep.
walked away, so we didn't get the double XP.
Yeah. That's awesome,
That's
dude.
high level shit.
Imagine that. Imagine. I think someone said imagine if this was done in SoloQ, people would rage, right? But this is the next level.
Yeah,
it's competitive, right? But that's so cool, dude. I love that.
That was really cool.
Imagine the first time they did that, they're like,
it probably would have been accidental, I reckon. And then can we replicate this on this wave? Yeah. It would have been like...
It's just such a good question. It's like, okay, how can a support be level 6 for this Rift Herald fight at 8 minutes?
Because it's so important.
Rakan level 6. And Alistair as well.
Huge.
There's game change.
Changes the game.
It actually is the game changer.
It is the game. That one ult can change the game.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, Nathan, is like, it's alignment in every area. You need to be aligned on the way you play fights, the way you play a dive, the way you... the way like a 2v2 skirmish plays out, the way... Every single, you want to be aligned as possible. But outside of that, it's all individual play. The more I've played the game, the more I think the game is individual. Dead set.
Yeah. And champ mastery.
Look at EDG, okay? We've got 2 players that have played together for a long time. Scout, 6 years. Mako, 7
years. We
years.
versed them, and we got to tell everyone. We got to clout here, Curtis.
2018.
2018, Direwolves.
At Worlds, yeah.
We were versing EDG in the plains. And these guys were like losing to.
They weren't that good.
No, they didn't even. They made groups. They got knocked out.
They were not that good.
Yeah,
and they had Scout and Mako.
Scout and Mako. Yeah, but we versed them. Can you believe
that's
that?
when they clear love as well.
Yeah,
but so yeah, the more I watched League, I thought that the game would become more team oriented over time. Like I was wrong. I thought it would be more and more and more team
I
oriented.
think that's what everyone thought. That's just staple. Yeah,
but it's not.
Yeah,
like I could prove this. You look at all of take EDG. They just fucking whip Viper over from Korea. They get all these players. What makes EDG good? Yes, their team fighting and things like that is good, right? I get that. But individually, they were able to match the Showmaker and the Canyon. JJ, just hit smites. And
That's right.
knew how to dominate his opponent in the jungle in game 4. He knew how to step up and knew talent jungle. That's nothing about team play.
No.
It was literally let him do his thing. It's a 1v1. That game was a 1v1 game 4. That was a 1v1 game. He destroyed.
Well, there is an element of that, but there is still everyone has to be doing their job as well. At the end of the day, a jungler can't get away with doing what he does if all his lanes are losing.
But if you think of, exactly. But even then, that's individual play.
Yeah,
it's like
that's everyone's piece of individual.
Everyone is individually contributing to the game.
Yeah.
Like, they need to win their matchups. They need to get pressure when they can get pressure.
They're on their own. Everyone's on their own.
Everyone's on their own. The game is like a fight. It's like a 1v1v1v1. It's like everyone's a 1v1 or a 2v2, 2v2.
Yeah.
Like, there's nowhere to help. Like, you got to be competent. Like, your jungler can't just help you all the time.
No.
And this is the thing. It's like, if you are so good at the game, if you're incredibly competent, like, you just can see the game holistically. And that's the other thing, Nathan. Last thing I will comment about this is that, you know, when you play your best champ, say Udyr, you're not thinking about playing Udyr. You're thinking about the game.
That's right.
What makes these pro players special is that they can do that on many champions. Scout can play Ryze, Twist of Fate, LeBlanc, Zoe, you know, all these champions, and not just think about the champ, think about the game holistically. That is what makes these players special. They are competent in the 1v1. They know all their matchups, and they can think about the game holistically and not fuck up mechanically and play the skirmishes pretty flawlessly.
It's all consistency.
Just consistency.
Yeah.
It's all individual things done across the board really well.
All the little things that done perfectly.
And I just...
Right. Correct.
And this is the thing, is like... This is why... And like, we don't talk about esports as much, but like, the teams that want to perform the best, they should just be hyper focused on making all their players the best individually and have lane coaches. That's just the way it should be.
Yeah, that's right.
Hyper focus on getting the best possible lane coaches for every role.
Yeah.
And that's it. You shouldn't even, like, you should have a draft coach, but mainly what you should have 5 as individual coaches.
Positional coaches, yeah.
That's what it should be.
Just looking at every movement,
every wave.
Because think about
and then the positional coaches can talk to each other. So you have one positional coach, they talk about, okay, in the review, they're watching it, right? And then the positional coach for bot lane, for example, maybe AD carry and support, they have like a discussion, say, so you guys did this with the wave, I did this, and then they loop in the jungle coach, and they're not even talking to the players. He's just talking about the coaches. They can align their thoughts about how they want to play the game and then teach that to the players and then create like a sense of like coherence. That's the way it should be, because a coach can't coordinate 5 players.
It's also very easy for a player that's performing poorly to hide in the team discussion stuff, like the team fight, you know, when he's like messing up, because no one's sitting there actually looking at every single play he's doing, right? And they're people who trust the players to do
and
that.
This is the thing, in the T1 versus Damwon series, what's that top laner's name from T1? Kana, I think it was.
Yeah, Kana.
He shit the bed.
Yeah.
Individually.
Yeah.
Just pure individual.
Yeah.
He got caught by gangs. He had the blow flash defensively. He had to use ults defensively. That was all individual. He let down the entire team as an individual.
Even Khan said in the last series as well for Damwon.
Yep. He shit the bed individually.
It was top gap.
It
was. Series.
So, you know, and that's something that I'm going to, you know...
Beat
it to a pulp. I'm going to say it over and over and over again.
Individual skill.
Individual skill. Anyone who's college, you're playing with the Clash team, get good individually, and you'll perform. You'll help your team perform better because you have more free mental stack to like look at the map. You'll see more opportunities. You'll execute skirmishes better. It's all the little things that add up. And it'll be interesting to see. Like, the game is just becoming more individual play every year.
I mean, at the end of the day, in terms of a team fight, there's no communication to be said.
There's no time. I mean, if you need to talk about how to play that team fight,
before the fight.
It's done. I mean, that should have been done in practice.
Yeah.
This is the end. Like, there shouldn't really be much. It's like maybe there'd be the odd little call, but it should be all mainly done. All the alignment that should be done over the year. Until you get to this one moment, you shouldn't need to talk. You view the game the same way. And that's what every discussion in your post-game review as a team should be about: alignment. How do we get aligned? How do we all view this fight? How did you view it? How did the AD carry see it? How did the mid, jungle, top? And then, for example, you don't get like the AD carry walking forward when the top lane is trying to reposition and flank. You don't get the jungler engaging when the mid lane has got to know this. Like, that's what you got to build that awareness around all the characters. You know, that's what it should be. It's not about, you know, all this shot calling and shit. Like, shot calling just triggers me whenever I hear that as a word. Shot caller just is the biggest tilter. There is no such thing as a shot caller. Every player says what they want, and that's the way the game should be played out. It's on a champ by champ basis. Viego, it's not like JJ went into game 4 with Viego into Talon and said like, and then like the top laner is shit. Like the top laner is a shot caller, so he's gonna tell what to do. Fuck off. He's got to dominate that talent. Like he's doing his thing. Let him do his thing.
Yeah. And he needs to
call everything that game, regardless. And then there's gonna be other games where like the bot lane's the carry and the support's the carry, and they're gonna call everything what they want, and everyone's got to chip in. Anyway,
love League of Legends, Curtis. How great is it?
But I mean, amazing series.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
Awesome stuff.
High level.
Yeah.
Makes me excited to see the future of League. What's going to be every year. It's getting bamboozling how good it is.
You know what this makes me think as well? Just how difficult it is to win multiple world championships as well.
Wow.
Like, it just makes Faker's achievement even more incredible.
But is it even possible anymore?
Yeah,
it's
like
so hard.
There's so much that can go. It's unbelievable. So much that can go wrong. Like, I feel like League compared to any other sport. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is hard to say because I don't actually know other sports at high level. Oh, I don't know. Because, like, there's so much that can go wrong. I guess the best of 5 series is generally the team that...
Well, think about JJ. If he missed any of those smites, it's just a different world.
Yeah.
There was that one game where... what was that game where Scout... He got ganked, like, at level 3. He should have died. And I don't know if it did. I think they lost that game anyway. But I remember thinking... Canyon cancelled an auto attack or something like that. Yeah. And I think it was game 3, I think they end up losing anyway. But I remember thinking in that moment, if Canyon doesn't cancel that auto attack and Scout died there, the game is just...
Oh, the game's...
And I'm like, I remember thinking like, holy shit, this game is so different.
Oh, shit.
And think about that. That's in a way, it's not luck, but it's like, it's very small things. And that's why it's...
I love small things. Small details. Yeah.
And that's why it's so hard to be consistent. Like, no matter how good you are...
There's that one thing you can... There's that...
That one auto attack or that one smite, that one last hit.
Because you're doing 1,000 auto attacks over the game. Like, it's...
That's why Damwon is so impressive as a team.
Because they can do
think how close they were.
Things, yeah.
I mean, they literally nearly won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
To even get into that position is incredible.
It is. They're a very good team.
I wonder if they'll re-pick up like Nuguri. I'm pretty sure Nuguri is... Because Nuguri is from Damwon, right?
From last year.
Wasn't he on Damwon?
The top laner for last year.
Yeah, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah, that's right.
And then he moved to FPX?
Yeah. Why did he not stay with the team? That's crazy, dude.
I wonder if they'll re-pick up someone like a carry top laner. Because I'm pretty sure his contract expires.
Yeah, Khan, that was his last series.
He's gone military service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so again, that's what I'm just saying. Like,
so give it a watch. Even if you're not into esports, just beautiful League of Legends, give it a watch.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see if Diamond stick together and come back for the third one.
So moving on.
So talking about preparation, Curtis. Okay, that was what you talked about a bit in terms of alignment with teams and stuff. Yeah. This is more of this is actually team stuff as well. I got a direct message on Twitter by a player who was playing in some Italian little league. It was versing a challenger jungler, and he's a mid laner, and he had to like off roll to jungle for this. And he was versing like, obviously a main role jungler who's like much higher elo than him. So he says, what should I do to prepare, right? And then this is my response, and I want to get your take on this, Curtis. I said, this is the next thing I said. He said, so Nathan, do you have any tips on how I prepare against this jungler? And I said, how many SoloQ games have you played this season? And he said, as a mid laner, around 1,000. I said, as a jungler, I think not more than 150, right? And then all I said was, your preparation was already done in those 150 jungle games. And then he said, that feels weirdly motivating. Thanks, I'll do my best. Thumbs up. And that's the end of the conversation. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
do you agree with that?
Yeah, there's nothing you can really do. Was the game like in a day or two?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing you can learn. And anything that you would try to learn would actually make you play worse.
Yeah. And
when it comes to last minute adjustments, it's like people who were trying to make their climb like for the last week during the end of the season. When people came to a session, I'll say, I don't want you to focus on anything right now. I just want you to here's maybe something very, very, very basic. You can maybe quickly reintroduce or quickly introduce, but this is it. Like the culmination of all your work, the entire season, you just got to express your best self in the last week, and let's see what you can do.
All your work and all your not work. Like when I say that, it's like the preparation. Think about that statement. That preparation was done in that 150 games, right? You know how we talk about one game's the most important game, but it's not at the same time?
Yeah.
like you decided to autopilot game 130, right? Or game 60, or you switch champions from game 30 to 60, 90. Like if you actually think about your preparation like that, you can really look at your preparation like over the season, like why you're the rank you are, or how your year went, and reviewing your games, and seeing actually what specifically went wrong. Like I think it's a really good way to think about it. It's like it's so easy to just get in league. You played 10 games, but it's like, what did that 10 games mean that day?
Yeah, what did you actually get out of those?
What did you actually
10
get
games?
out of that?
And what does these last 2 weeks look like? What does this month look like?
Like what did you fuck up with? What did you fuck up? Let's say this season you played, you jumped in the season, you were all excited to improve, right? March, January, June, July. What would these months look like? Were they good preparation?
Right. So yeah, you're saying basically how you can get specific and say, you can think of it broader sense. Like I've got 150 games. I've played 150 games of jungle, but you can get even more specific.
1,000 games. It's like, just think about like
just
that.
Think about
what
it.
is those?
Yeah.
What exactly happened in
like
those
what did you
1,000
learn?
games?
What did you focus on in this time? What did you learn during that time? You shifted your champ pools. You probably didn't learn much there. Maybe just champ mastery.
Yeah, autopilot tilted on a
Then you
huge
play
tilt string.
tilt like say 20% of games.
The games go
autopilot
will
another
start
20%
flying.
of games.
The games will start
just go
flying.
away. Yeah,
yeah. Some like that, and this is where people play thousands of games, right? You see those players in your elo, like you play thousands of games. You could everything we just said, like they're probably doing all those things, and they're actually getting nowhere.
Do you feel like that with life sometimes? Like I feel like
I think it can be definitely.
It's
a
the
vibe
same
as
thing
well.
with life. You kind of like look back and like, what have I done over the past?
Let's say the year flew. Everyone's like the years just flew.
Yeah, the year
by,
flew,
right?
but then like you actually break it down.
Yeah,
like
break it
we
down,
did lockdown for this and this, and I kind of did that.
I didn't go to the gym these sort of
yeah,
weeks.
and it
so
kind of
it's
adds
like,
up. Like it adds up. It's like the days I did go to the gym, I got this, but then I didn't. I actually went backwards for 3 months, and then it's actually an interesting exercise to really break it down. And I think this is probably going to be. I said this in my end of season. I did like a little article talking about how to get max value out of the off season. I said it's valuable to kind of reflect over your year.
Absolutely.
And like think back and be like, what did you play? Like, what did you do over this entire year season? Like, did you take a break for 3 months in the middle? Did you play at the start? Did you abuse some OP champion and get elo inflated? Whatever it was. Whatever that, what did you do exactly? Did you shift your champ pool 17 times? Or did you stick with your 3 champ pools, but you just kind of plateaued? And what exactly did you do? It's actually a good exercise to go through, because then you can actually look back and be like, I definitely don't want to do that again. I definitely don't want to waste my 3 months switching champions anymore, because that got me nowhere.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to spend 25% of my games tilted or autopiloting. I definitely don't want to have no learning objective. You might things that like worked for you and what didn't. It's like just a little bit of reflection and calibration goes a long way. What about for you, Nathan? What are some of the regrets, things that you liked and you wanted to replicate you want to replicate for next season? And what are things that you want to avoid next season? Just doing a quick reflection on your year.
So this is the way that I break down my year. Season started. I got pretty prepared in the off season. I really focused on Nunu and Hecarim champ mastery. So that's what I focused on, and Olaf, and then I just played those champs at the beginning of the season, right? Steady climb. Then the whole Udyr Hecarim thing came out, so I sort of got a bit lucky with the whole.
Yep.
That sort of just aligned perfectly, right? And then I added Udyr to my pool, and obviously I had all this experience with Udyr. Like
you already had the champ mastery.
I had the champ mastery back, 6-7 years ago, right? Which got me to Challenger, and then those champs sort of got nerfed a bit, and then it aligned with our lockdown, and then no gym anymore. So like I had to like learn like these new type of champions and stuff like that.
So your schedule got obliterated.
Schedule thing, but I also never picked up I'd say the Rumble Morgana and stuff meta. That threw me the fuck off really big time, because I never actually adapted.
And there was a Diana
champs.
meta as well.
Yeah, Diana, and I was too late to learn Diana as well.
Right.
And then I sort of learnt them, and then they were on the way out. So I had this period of 3-4 months.
Did you have to this is what I have a question. Chris.
Yeah.
Did you have to adapt to the meta?
I didn't.
Did you have to?
But this is the thing, and this is what happened. Like because I was like hovering around 700, 800 LP, I felt just completely capped.
Yeah.
And it's actually
like capped by your champ pool.
Yeah, capped by my
because
champ pool.
in Challenger,
because you can't get any higher, and like
in Challenger, champ pool does matter.
It
does matter. Yeah.
So like I just got fucked. Like I got fucked, right? And then And then I went on like, I want to go back to early pressure. And then I sort of like was learning Xin Zhao and then Jarvan and stuff. And then that was just a steady decline all the way to Diamond 1 that I am now.
Right.
And then it was also a combination with...
So you didn't really... So all of these things you're talking about, this is all champ related. Did you learn anything about the game? Like, did you improve at the game holistically at all? Like,
I honestly can't fucking tell, dude. Honestly. I've still done lots of reviews. I think I've still kept on it and stuff. And yeah, I'm actually confident. Even though I'm Diamond 1 right now, I'm actually very confident in my gameplay still. You know? Like, I'm playing well the games that I do win. I just need to like just chip away at some other things.
Yeah.
But so that's the way that I view my season. Like, and what I want to do next season is that if I get stuck at 800 with a champ pool, I'm just going to stick it out.
You're going to just leave it. Yeah.
And like I might drop 300 or something, but I'm just going to chill at that.
Just, yeah. And the reason that is because you know that if you shift your champ pool, it's going to dig you a bigger hole anyway.
Or what I need to do, I need to actually create a process for picking up the champs that are coming in meta on like a Smurf account, like sooner, quicker as well.
Or maybe you don't have to revamp your entire champ pool.
That's
maybe
right.
you just reintroduce one.
Yeah.
Like you still have your core 2 or 3, and then you just pick that one every now and then when you need to.
Yeah.
I think that would be a much smarter thing.
Mm.
Okay. So how are you? And so you said, and why? But this time around, what you did was you completely dropped all your best champs.
Yeah, I did. I went
and then
extreme.
played only new champs and didn't learn it on a second account. Okay, so that are the main mistakes, main learnings.
And that's because I just struggle with it higher than 800, right? And that's the thing. There's like this mentality in League. If you're not like staying at a rank, like people think is not improving, but it actually still can be, like in a way. Like if I'm maintaining, right, and my champs have gotten weaker, in a way, you're actually still improving at the game. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something I would have to think about more. I really don't want to comment on that. I don't know much about that.
I mean, I've thought about this stuff a lot across my journey.
Right.
So. Okay. So yeah, it was just an absolute shit show. But again, lots of learnings though, dude. Like this is great, you know. And
well, it's learning more of it's learning more about your SoloQ journey as a whole. It's learning about what you. It's not really learning about the game. It's more learning about how you interact in given certain situations. How your emotions will get influence and confidence, and the whole thing kind of ties together, isn't it?
Yep.
Because League's a confidence game.
It's a confidence game. I mean, when I would finish my gym session in the morning and then do a review session, then shower, be all ready to go for my 3 block. That's just my peak.
That was intensity. A perfect schedule.
Yeah. But then what happened? Like lockdown happened, and then I was playing 3 blocks a day. And it was just...
Your schedule just exploded.
So no gym. And then...
Way more games than
usual. And then my schedule just changed as well.
Plus the full shift to champ pool.
So it's just a fucking just chaos, you know?
Wow. Okay. So it was a recipe for disaster.
It's a recipe for disaster. It makes sense, you know? I'm not fucking scratching my head while I'm Diamond 1 right now, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it is a pretty huge drop. 800 LP to Diamond 1.
That's a metric. That's the equivalent of Diamond 4 to Gold 4, isn't it? It is. It's about the equivalent.
Yeah.
It's Diamond 4 to Gold 4.
Yeah.
You went from Diamond 4 to Gold 4.
Yeah. Fucking A, dude. No, I got down to... I was Diamond 2 last week.
You know how weird is it when you think of it like that?
Yeah.
You think of like 100 LP in Master. Like you go to like 100, 200. Like each one of them is the equivalent of like a division essentially. I mean, plus because there's no promos anymore, right? In between the divisions. So when you think of it like that, 0 LP to you were 800. It's 8 entire divisions.
Yep.
8.
Yep.
That's like the entire rank. It's like the most of the people's climb they do for years.
Yeah, that's right.
You dropped literally years of rank for people.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
My journey was a blur. Really, a lot of it was a blur. I would say like
yours was weird. You went through a lot of.
I went through a
time where you didn't play for you didn't play much.
Yeah, I didn't play as much as I wanted to. I think
like last season you played a fuck ton.
Well, because this is where you had the SoloQ already, right? You had the SoloQ up and running before. You did the SoloQ before I did the MLA,
That's right?
Yeah. So like, I didn't play a lot because I built the MLA during the season. Like I didn't start. My MLA started around February.
That's right. Yeah.
So like I had to like get the MLA. I was always like upgrading the side and like trying to figure out how the hell the MLA was going to work. So a lot of my time was shifted in other areas. And it wasn't until kind of like the second half of the season where I started to kind of get back into SoloQ. But I do remember that I went through like a huge Fizz phase and I had a metric ton of success with Fizz and I was just enjoying the champion. It wasn't even good, like objectively at the time. People used to flame me for playing it, but I just enjoyed it and I won a lot with it. Like Like, it just worked.
Yeah.
And then slowly, like, the meta shifted to like LeBlanc and Rise. And I just can't play Fizz into those champions. So I stopped playing it. And then like and then I went through I went through like a big, like
The
a
support phase.
I went through like just a support phase, but I went through like a crisis with my champ pool because as I stopped playing Fizz, I was like behind the meta. Like, I didn't know how to adapt to this Rise and LeBlanc meta. I didn't know what the hell to play. And I just overcomplicated my pool massively. And I was playing like a trillion different champions. And then finally I'm like, screw it. I'm going back to my basics, my Orianna, my Twisted Fate, and things like that. And I just kind of started rock and rolling again. So again, my biggest learning, I would say, for me, I mean, like the actual, okay, so I think a few things. I have learned to control my intensity a lot more than previous season. I'd say that's one learning for me. And that's done through the use of music, certain YouTube videos, and the LOL dodge game. That's one big finding for me. And so I have more control. I used to be very coin flip in my intensity. Like, some games would be high, other games not so much. And then also, again, I think that I've had the painful experience of shifting my support champ pool too much. And I had a big crisis again because my support pool just got screwed by the Enchanter meta. And I just found it impossible to play my engage. Like, I couldn't play my alley. I used to be so confident Alistair and stuff.
Yeah.
But then
It became really
Enchanters are so strong this season that I just wasn't good enough at support to make it work.
Remember,
in OS as well.
in 1K LP.
In high yellow games.
Yeah.
In very high yellow games.
So that's the difference. Like, I'm really afraid right now people are going to be
we're talking
they're in
about
gold
Challenger,
and they're changing their champ pools because
Meta
they're
doesn't
changing
matter.
our pools.
But we're talking in like high yellow games.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm versing pro players,
Yeah.
every game. So
Yeah.
it's like most games. So when I'm versing the rank 1 support player and then they're playing Yumi and I'm playing Alistair, and I don't really know.
You do nothing in the... You
What
don't know how
do
to
I
punish
do?
it. Yeah.
I just lose. Like,
Just
I remember like
instantly
versing Kitty all the time. We had Kitty on the...
Yeah.
She's like top 10, by the way.
Yeah.
Kitty's killing it.
Insane.
She's top 10. And like, I have PTSD versing Kitties like Yumi and like her enchanters. Like, her Nami and Janna. I'm just sitting there getting...
lane and just getting
She just doesn't die. I'm just getting completely zoned.
Yeah.
I'm just getting destroyed. And I
Yeah.
just get flamed to death. I miss one engage and this is the end of review.
Yeah.
So I just said, screw it. And then I went to Bard and I'm sticking with Bard. And Bard works. I just ban Yumi when I'm supporting. Just pick Bard.
Yeah.
And I can
Dude, I ban Yumi now.
Yeah, Yumi perma ban.
Yeah. That's my ban,
So yeah, look, for me, I would say this is a relatively underwhelming season. Like, I didn't feel like I was able to push myself. And I nearly reached my goal. Like, I had a goal. Initially, my goal was rank 1. End up not being able to, we discussed that in another episode. Then I changed it to top 10 and I got to like rank 12. Got to 1180 LP this season at my peak. 1180. I think it was rank 11, rank 12.
Oh, jeez, dude.
Yeah. If you look at my OPGG graphs, I went all the way up to 1180 and then there was a steep decline when my tilt spree down to 800.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like hovering like 950 or something like that. But so I nearly got top 10. Very, very, very close. I think it was 1 or 2 spots off. I was literally 2 games off, I think. And then kind of declined. Now I'm sitting at like rank 20.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, I didn't learn an overly much. I kind of just implemented a lot of my learnings from my coaching, just got better mechanically again, and that's it. Pretty stock standard.
Yeah, no, I think even though it looks like, so I finished last season at Master 0 LP, I could be the exact same this season, but I feel like this was my most successful season by far.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just amazing, incredible learns. I'm so pumped for next season, dude.
Wow. So what's your goal for next season?
1K LP. Definitely.
That's going to be a big one, man.
Yeah.
That's going to be a massive
one. I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to it, dude.
I think that this was super successful. Again, like I think it's important to have that drop because, yeah. I mean, for example, someone like Terath, so he's in SoloQ, he got to like, 800, 900 LP. I don't know what he's at right now, but he's had the huge declines as well. You just learn from those big time, I mean, you've never really had those. You've always been consistently up.
I mean, I told my girlfriend at home when I'm playing SoloQ, I said, if I don't get Challenger, I'm quitting. Like it's that much. It's that important.
It's really important. It is.
It's like
you need the thing.
It's like part of my identity,
It
dude.
is.
Like I told Vivian, I said I'm gonna be out of a job if I don't get Challenger. I said you got to pack it up. I can't pay for rent anymore. Just pack it up. Quitting the MLA. Like I just have to.
Imagine if it says in that profile, then this season Grandmaster.
Yeah, my goal was that has to be on my profile. Has to be Challenger from season 4 to like season 30 or some shit.
I'm pretty sure you've got it though, right? If you
What?
If you set on it right now.
Oh, now I've got it. Yeah.
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 Oh.
So I got to this season, but
Curtis
like
is not
before when
quitting
I went on
everyone.
my drop, I kind of like hovered like 40 or something. I dropped all the way from rank 11 to rank 40.
Yeah.
Because it's top
Wow.
50, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, and then I had to get my shit together. So I got
Yeah.
my shit together and I just played what I knew and I
Yeah.
won, right? But
Yeah.
there was that period of time and at the time, like I was not pleasant to be around. Like I was like, because it's like my identity, man. Like I have to get challenger. Like there's no if and buts about it. It's like, don't disrupt me.
Mm-hmm.
Like don't come into I got to win.
Yeah.
Like win at all costs.
Crunch time, life or death.
And I said, I literally told her, like, I don't know what I'll do. If I didn't get challenger, I don't know I'd be a dangerous man, I'm telling you.
You probably wouldn't be here on this podcast right now.
I wouldn't have
You'd be
shown
playing SoloQ.
Oh, yeah.
You would cancel all sessions.
I'd cancel the MLA, fuck it, quit it,
Yeah.
leave it,
Yeah.
and then get challenger. But
We got it. We're all
got
good.
it.
We're here.
So I actually want to talk about just quickly a little
Okay.
thing here, Nathan.
yeah.
Now, this is a big contradiction. Ready? This is
Here
one
we
of
go.
our classic. For me,
Fuck, what's the
I contradict myself all the time.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about this. So this is about winning.
Shit. Okay.
Winning.
Yeah.
So we talk about process. We talk about the importance of like setting goals, getting being a better player.
Yeah.
And if you're a better player, the LP will come as a byproduct.
That's right.
Correct?
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people really internalize this in the MLA. You know, they say, Curtis, you know, I'm really focused on just being a better player. It's really working for me, you know, and they do get great results. But then I did a review with Niall, I think it was, and he's sitting like 200-300 LP Master. I think it was him or Steve sitting in like, I think Grandmaster and NA. And he makes a mistake. And because he's like internalized that perfectionist mindset in a way where it's like he just wants to be a better player. He doesn't care about the LP. Like he would kind of drop his intensity after he made like 2 mistakes. Like he would be so disgusted in his level of play that he couldn't bring himself to like, because he wasn't really caring about winning the game. His priority number 1 was improving, and the killing the Nexus just wasn't that important to him. Like it was a secondary thing.
Yeah.
And like this is what I said to him. I said, Steve, like you still got to win, man. Like winning is important. Like we all play to win. We all like, and this is the discussion we had kind of off camera the other day when we went for a walk. Like the difference between me and you and SoloQ is that you're a perfectionist. You want to play the skirmishes flawlessly. You want to play your jungle pathing flawlessly. You have like this picture in your mind with how the game is going to play out. And if you make a mistake and you lose that initial win con that you thought was like the perfect way to win, that would have been beautiful League of Legends, you kind of switch off and you instantly aren't playing to win anymore in a weird way. And what I mean by not playing to win, you're not doing every single thing you can, finding every little window, no matter how messy it is to win the game. The difference between me and you is that I will make a mistake and I'm pissed at myself and say that's disgusting. But then I want to win so badly that
You'll find a way.
I will find a way to win this game no matter how messy it looks. I've played over my like climber over the past 2 weeks. Most of my games, I'm disgusted at my level of play in terms of lane. But I want to fucking win. And I will do whatever it takes to win. And I will talk and I'll comm and I will call. I will ping things off. I'll do creative plays. No matter how, I'll sacrifice my life. I'll do whatever it takes to win the game. And no matter how shit I look. And this is like, it's like a different mindset. It doesn't mean I'm not playing to improve. I still really want to improve my lane phase and I was focusing on my lane with TF. But at the same time, like winning matters. And then what Steve and Niall said, well, Curtis, isn't that contradictory to what you say? You talk about LP being a byproduct of improvement and improve. Yes, but the caveat, and I thought this was just, again, something I should have clarified, is like, we all play to win. Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean it's like end of review. And when we say end of review in our games, it's end of review from a review perspective. It's not end of the game in the game itself, because people make mistakes.
That's right.
Even no matter how messy it is.
They've had their end review the enemy team a couple of times already by that
So
point.
have you had people like get confused about this? And have you ever thought about this as a concept? Like, and what are your thoughts
I think
on
that's
this?
definitely what I struggle. I mean, that's what was it? Niles,
Niall, I think it was Steve, one of them.
Steve. That's exactly for me. Like I will end the review in the game. I mean, it's weird. I had phases.
It's like a mindset.
I had phases where I didn't do that, and then I went back to that, and because I was learning new champs, and I wanted to play a perfect game with Jarvan and Elise and Zhao and shit.
Because your standards are so high.
Yeah, it's just
because you coach, and I know where you can feel like this, Nathan.
Yeah.
Because when you coach and you're watching someone else's play, right? You can kind of get into this weird mindset where you forget that there's execution involved.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
like this is why coaches, in a way, have to be high elo, because if you don't play the game to a high level, you become so disconnected with what's actually possible from the human brain.
Yeah.
Like you forget that someone has to think, and like there's the execution as well as like the theory. And as a coach, it's very easy to fall into the theoretical world of do this, do this, do this, do this, but it's not feasible. How does one do that? How? And so when you play, you've got this ideal view of what the lane or the jungle gang would look like, the skirmish, and then you make a mistake and you're so angry.
Yeah, that's definitely.
But so how do we word this in a way that doesn't contradict? I mean, it just contradicts everything we say, right? It's like winning matters, but it doesn't.
The process, yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the statement. Winning matters, but it doesn't.
Winning matters, but it doesn't. Because I want to win, but I'm okay with losing as well. That's the scary thing. It's like I am okay with losing, but I'm not okay with losing at the exact same time. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Okay, so I'm not okay losing to the point where I'll self-sabotage the win.
so you hate losing.
Because I've lost the game in my mind, even though I haven't theoretically.
So you kind of want it. So a part of you wants to lose the game.
Yeah. Because
To like push to like
I missed that
punish yourself
Java
in a way.
EQ. Yeah, in a weird way, yeah. Because I missed that Java EQ.
Right.
Because I know that's the easiest win.
It's
Like
a free
I
win.
won the game.
Yep.
But I lost the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've done Nathan. Like I've done that plenty of time with TF where I ult the wrong side, or I just do the worst TF ult, like in the worst position, suicide.
Yep.
But I'll still win
You'll still win, yeah.
because it's like that's just one. I mess up, you can always come back.
I know, and I'm aware of it. And I've had periods where that was okay.
But have you negatively impacted people in the SoloQ? Because I feel like I've negatively impacted some people in the MLA by, like they've not misinterpreted, they probably interpreted it correctly. I haven't clarified enough, like the importance of like the early game, and then when they make a mistake, I feel like they overemphasize those mistakes too much.
Yeah. There was a couple, not so much now. I take reviews a little bit longer these days, but
Yeah.
I still emphasize this is like an end of game losing, but then I'll keep looking at a couple.
You
more
keep
plays.
looking at it. Yeah. That's
I
right.
sort of just like speed through the rest of like, what's going on here. Let's look at some mid game team fights or something.
Yeah.
Because I have a bit more
You
focus on
tone down a little
execution.
bit.
Yeah, execution. Unless it's like an actually like game losing mistake.
Yeah. I feel you.
So I think we need to keep chipping away at our messaging around that, Curtis.
Yeah, I think we need to just. I mean, again, I think there's a much better way to frame that. It's like, so there's three things. The way I view it is three core pillars. I really want to become a better player because I know and be process oriented, because in the long run I will be a higher rank every season, or just be a better player every season and improve every season if I'm process oriented. So I'm not really, I don't super care about the win because again, I'm going to improve, but then I still want to win because I'm playing league. I'm a competitive guy and I want to win, but then I don't care so much about the win such that if I lose, I'm going to lose all confidence. So you got to find that balance. It's like, it's a very tightrope. You got to care, but not care too much. You got to focus on improvement, but not overemphasize the focus on improvement versus the win. It is a very, very fine line. I'm sure there's a much more articulate way of kind of, paraphrasing that one, but yeah. All right. What else do you have in store, Nathan?
All right, so another conversation that I have. I just have some great conversations. I love the people that message me. This is another one. This is
okay.
This was a very sarcastic tone, I would say, that I had in this next one.
Okay.
This is one of my Grandmaster Challenger players, right?
Okay.
People will know who it is in the SoloQ. I'm not going to call his name out, okay? Because it's a private conversation. All right. Nathan, I won 13 games in a row, but I see myself losing 13 in a row very soon. And I said, yeah, you tend to get that feeling if you focus on the wins and losses. Can you tell if you're actually getting better at the game or not, or is it completely random? He says, when I play emotionally, I play well. When I really want the win, I play super good. But when I'm on a loss streak, I give up and I play bad. And then I said, well, let's hope you don't get on a loss streak then. Do you think it's possible to ever not go on a loss streak? So I'm just saying, like, is it actually ever possible? And he says, no. Right, so I'm sort of answering the question, this is inevitable, right? And I said, well, I guess we're just going to wait for those 13 losses to happen then. Could be tomorrow, could be next week. And then he says, I can't be a robot though. Like, I'm like on the opposite end of it, but it's tough to fix. And then he messaged me the next day saying, Nathan, it happened. I lost 130 LP.
Yeah.
And that's it. What do you think about that conversation, Curtis? Is that the way you would have tackled that conversation? This is a recurring theme. It's
Right,
been happening
okay.
back and forth for months. He's aware of it. I'm aware of it. We're all aware of it.
Right. Okay. Well, first of all, that's a sign that his process isn't good.
No.
That's a sign that he's overemphasizing the wins and losses, and he's not getting into the review. He's not getting specific.
Not thinking about
enough.
actually getting better at the game.
Yeah, and he's not getting specific enough. Like, what's contributing to the wins and what contributes to losses. And then I would get more specific. So when you're saying you're playing to win, what does that mean specifically? When you really want to win, how does it manifest? Like, I'd get more specific, more granular, and then I would say, okay, so it's inevitable that you're gonna have tough blocks, right? You're gonna have a 0-3 block. It's gonna be you're gonna have those 0-3 blocks that is completely out of your control. And what he probably means by that, the way I interpret that question, is that he's worried that he doesn't have the emotional regulation in order to prevent himself from stopping after he has a rough block.
That's correct, yeah.
And so
he's a very emotional player.
Right. And so then what I would do is that, well, when I hear that I'm a very emotional player, all that when I enters in my brain, I just hear, he doesn't have the toolkit to be able to regulate his emotions, and he doesn't have the toolkit to be able to prevent the loss streak from occurring. That's like the way I view it. And I wrote an article in my MLA called How to Prevent Loss Streaks and How to Repair Damage from Loss Streaks. 2 different articles. And one of the things I spoke about in How to Prevent Loss Streaks is that if you feel as though you have a 0-3 block and it was a shit show and you've lost confidence and you messed up, or maybe it was an unlucky one, you have to take a break immediately. Just take a break. If you usually play 2 blocks, don't play that second block. Even if you play usually the next day, don't even play that next day. Literally take an entire day off. Then on that day, instead of playing instead of playing League, watch those 3 VODs and actually watch the VODs before. What you'll notice a lot of the time, at least what I've done when I've done this, is that you'll see that there's a very obvious difference in play. Sometimes there won't be. And sometimes it's really good to like you come in with a clear mind the day after and be like, oh, this is actually not that bad. I'm actually over exaggerating. I actually played pretty well, and I was actually always going to lose this game. So then you're kind of detaching. You know you're not playing, so it doesn't really matter, and you can kind of just like logically step through those hoops in a way. If you did play worse, like maybe you got a 30% loss the first game, and then maybe the 2 other games you genuinely played worse, you can actually look at that and compare that with the games you played well and be like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, I don't know why I did that. That was very strange, and I should have done that. That would have led to that. And, you can actually like really break it down as to why you lost the game. But because you've kind of detached from the emotions and the painful experience, because you've taken a day off, you've looked at it a day later, because you're not going to be able to logically break down those losses after that 0-3 block. You're just not.
Yeah.
If you actually look at it from like it's like kind of in a way, when you're really, really angry with someone, it's probably best to like hold your tongue and say, let's talk about this later, and come back, a few hours later and say, look, I know that if we spoke here, I would have said something stupid that I regret. It's the exact same with reviews. And so that's like a tool. That's like a toolkit, a way you can like navigate that scenario so you prevent the damage. And then after that day, 2 days later, you start again. And then you come in with very specific things that you want to get better at. Like, you come in with active, like, beautiful set, specific learning objectives that would prevent those sorts of mistakes happening from that 0-3 block. And then that's it. And then you go again. So in a way, it's kind of like pausing, preventing any potential damage that could be done.
Yeah, which is the third thing.
But in order to even do this in the first place, you must have the discipline to stop at the 0-3 block. That's where most people fail.
Because they want to get back their LP.
And the only way to do this is you must register the pain of that 13 loss streak. Like, really internalize it and know how it feels. Because you will not, if you've never had that loss streak, you will never say no. You have to like remember, singe that loss streak into your brain, such that when you have that 0-3 block, if you look back on that, like, you'll think back, okay,
I don't want to go through that again.
I don't want to go through that again. That's stressful. I don't want to do that again. But this is also why schedule is important, Nathan. because people are addicted,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and the 13 game block type thing, that's scary. So why people won't take that day off is because a lot of times because they're addicted.
Yeah.
And that's where things get messy. So that's the way I would structure that entire conversation.
Yeah.
I'll talk about schedule, talk about potential addiction, talk about the emotional regulation, stopping after 0-3 block, tell that guy to get off the computer. Don't even talk to him. Like, you had your 0-3 block? Okay, great. Piss off.
Yep.
I don't want to talk to you.
Yep.
There's nothing to talk about.
That's right.
Let's talk about this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Go to bed. Play another game. Go outside. Bounce a basketball or some shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you got to do.
Yeah. There's another aspect of it as well. It's like become like a narrative as well.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy
It's like,
in a way. He like
I
wants it to
113
happen.
He wants it to happen to
wants it-
keep if you're feeling.
I feel as though that when I hear that in another aspect, it's like he kind of wants to prove himself right.
That's right. Yeah.
It's kind of like you with
Yeah.
you make a mistake, you want to lose in a weird way, and it feels good to lose in a weird
You're
way.
like, well, like that because I have control of it in a way. You know.
Yeah. He can't, or maybe he's scared of climbing. Like it sounds like he's scared of getting higher elo. Like he's actually scared. He's thinking about, oh my God, like I'm actually higher than I ever was. I've won these 13 games in a row.
I was waiting for the loss streak.
Like
to happen.
I'm going to get outclassed eventually. Like it seems like to me, he's not present in the moment. He's thinking so much
that's
about
right,
those
that's the
past
key
13
thing.
games. He's not
Yeah.
thinking about
the next game.
This
the next
game
decision,
is it.
This decision.
Yeah.
These next decisions.
This game. It's
game.
not about this. It's not about this month of block. It's about this game in this clear with this champs, these win cons.
And it goes back to preparation. That preparation was all done. Like that's your level of play.
Yeah, that's your level of play.
Based on
Yeah.
your preparation.
Yep.
Really important to embrace that.
And it's
mindset.
highly unlikely that you'll get lucky 13 games in a row. So he's obviously played well during
he
that
does.
period of
He has
time.
great share mastery.
So it's like, give yourself a pat in the back. And I would say what's very important during this entire thing, Nathan, is you got to positively reinforce the things that he does well and know what to look for when he does win.
Rather
Because he
just focus
sounds
on
like
the
he's a bit
negatives.
insecure about his level of play. And that's like Steve. Steve is the exact same thing. He's insecure about his level of play. And I tell him, dude, you've done a great job. I'd say, dude, he's gone from like diamond something to like 500 LP. And like, you've had an amazing climb this season.
Yeah.
You've improved a lot. And because he knows how much is possible, though, he doesn't give himself that pat on the back. Dude, just chill, dude. You've done a really great job this season. You know, it's not perfect, but you've come a long way. And with Steve, I always tell him, dude, yep, you made this one mistake. Yep, it means the lane's a lot harder than it need to be now, but it doesn't mean you're a terrible player just because you make one mistake. And it comes with time, you know, and you got to give yourself positive reinforcement.
All right. I'm happy with that.
Yep.
Hopefully he's happy with that. I'll send him the link to that one. All right. We'll jump into Mailbag now, Curtis.
Sounds good.
Away we go. Welcome back for Nathan's Mailbag. Jingle, jingle, jingle song. All righty then. First question here is from Josh. Title of this email is Role Swap Question. Hear me out. So he already knows. He's like, guys, I know role swap, but hear me out, please.
Okay. Keep an open mind. Let's keep an open mind, Nathan.
Howdy, partners. I got an American accent. Howdy, partners. Is that good? That's not. I think that's very good.
I'm not a good judge, honestly.
I know that American, what they do is they emphasize like the R's. So howdy, partners.
Y'all.
They're
No one
like-
says y'all though, I swear.
They do, dude. They get emails
Really?
of y'all, yeah.
Oh.
What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? All right, my name's Soin from NA. I think you guys read out my email about the Dunning-Kruger effect.
What's his
Sounds
name?
Stupid. It's Josh. Now it's Soin.
Sewing.
Yeah.
Josh. Okay.
So we'll stick with Soin then.
Okay.
This season, I climbed 6 divisions to Silver 1 after spending 5 seasons stuck in Bronze. I mainly attribute this to getting a computer that can actually run the game at a reasonable frame rate, but I think I'd be remiss not to give myself a little bit of credit as well. But I hit a wall over a large number of games. I mostly play ADC and I feel extremely comfortable in the role mechanically, but I sometimes worry that I've developed some bad habits in the role that might prevent me from climbing. As of now, I feel most confident in the role when the game is mostly even. I assume this is because there are the times that my mechanics have the most impact in the outcome of the game. That being said, when my team loses in the early game, I struggle to carry games even with a lead. I found that I really enjoy a lot of champs in mid and top as well. However, on those roles, I feel much more mechanically sluggish. Is taking the time to get better at those roles going to be worthwhile in the long run? If so, would you recommend I ever return to ADC?
So he's basically saying that he doesn't feel that impactful on AD carry.
Yeah.
And
he enjoys the mid lane. I can't tell if it's he enjoys the champs or he doesn't like his role.
Well, look, it's a very, very simple answer.
All right.
Very, very, very simple.
Yep.
What do you enjoy the most?
Yep.
Period. If you love AD carry, play AD carry. If you love mid, play mid. Now, if you like both, right? Let's say you genuinely enjoy both roles and champions in both roles equally, then I would probably just, surely you have an inclination to one of them, but then I'll just do it, lucky dip. Doesn't matter.
Lucky dip.
It honestly doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I would say, okay, look, from an overarching perspective, it's easier to go from mid to AD carry than it is AD carry to mid. So if you were to play mid, and say you didn't like it like 2 years down the line, you could easily go back to AD carry. But if you went to AD carry and played AD carry for 2 years, going to mid is going to be very, very, very difficult. Because mid, all the same fundamentals basically apply to mid, to AD carry, but doesn't go the other way. So if you're unsure, mid would probably be a safer bet. But ideally follow your heart and go with the one that you love the most, man. Don't worry about not being impactful. That stuff will come with time as you get more experience. And again, you're Silver 1. Just enjoy. Just be very free flow, open-minded, relax, and have fun, man.
What I'm worried about is he doesn't like ADC because he doesn't feel impactful versus he needs to not like ADC because of the champions.
You gotta love the champs.
You gotta love the champs.
Just love the way they play and
Champ
the feel,
mastery.
and you gotta love them.
Yeah.
If you love the champs, then that's all that matters, man. That's what's going to get you through the 300 games where you're plateaued. Because you just love it. You have fun. You got to have fun at the end of the day, man.
All right, so we're happy with that one?
Yeah. Don't want to overcomplicate things for him, man. He's in his silver. He's the start of his journey.
Our next question here is from Matthew. Hi, Curtis and Nathan. The title of this email is, are there differences between people who play different roles? In the last episode, you touched on how the champion you play affects the challenges you will face during your time playing League. That's the maze analogy you use. A lot of people like that.
I'm going to do my video on that this week.
Exciting. Do you think something similar could be said for different roles where certain roles overemphasize on certain skill sets while others don't? Clearly, the champion you play will have greater influence in the role you play, but I'd love to hear your thoughts about this.
So basically his question is... How did you interpret the question? So basically...
Do you think something similar could be said for different roles where certain roles emphasize...
Right.
So it's like,
so you're saying roles... Would certain roles develop a certain skill set rather than the champ? Is that right?
If I'm just thinking right now, like let's say there was a huge thing back in my day because I was an Udyr main. I'm playing Udyr jungle and then I was like, well, you can just play top because you have champ mastery on top. Then doesn't work.
No. Yeah, so I would say that jungle... What would you say? What skills, like overarching skills, would you say jungle?
For other roles?
No, like what skill set? I mean, you probably have good, decent map awareness.
Jungle tracking.
Yep.
So if I was to go play mid, I mean, when I play support offer, I know where the jungle is pretty much all the time.
That's great. So there's a bit of overlap.
Yeah.
So I'll say there's overlap probably between jungle and support a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you think about the game holistically.
Yeah. Vision and controlling areas of the map and stuff
yeah,
like that.
Vision. Yeah, vision game, jungle tracking, like being there for fights and stuff like that. Knowing where fights are going to pan out.
And then top is wave control.
Yep.
Mid's wave control.
I'd say top and bot are actually kind of similar in that sense. Like AD carry and top. I would say trading, like mid's very unique. I think you need a bit of everything.
Unique,
you need like a bit of everything. Like it's a mixed bag. But yeah, I would say spot on. There are champ specific skills or skill sets you will learn based off the champ. But then there's another layer. There's things that you would always learn in that role no matter what. No matter what champ you play. Yeah. Like, no matter what jungle you play, you still...
Because there's a flow of the game.
But there's, like, different degrees of it, but you would still be present.
I mean, you understand it's like, well, I'm doing this path, and then every jungler starting there, so it's like, I can either fight or probably not. It's like, you could apply that to any champ.
This is kind of like the way I view it in my mind, right? So let's just say that, like, let's just say there's a list of all, like, the game fundamentals that like, apply to every role. The way I view it is based off the role you play, there's, like, a multiplier on a certain skill. So if you play jungle, every point every like skill point you're going to get 2 times in terms of a map awareness. Like that's how I view it. So certain skills are just like X'd or like multiplied based off the role that you pick. So I'd say that there's like a baseline. You need a bit of everything for every role, but then certain ones are emphasized naturally based off your role. And then the next layer is that then maybe there's an add and subtract based off the champ that you play. So that's like the way I view it. It's like a unique formula combination based every champ, every role.
Yeah.
And that's why I would say every role has something in common with support. Right? Like I'd say like there's flow on between mid and support, and there's flow on between jungle and support. And then there's flow on between mid and top and AD carry and top. There's a little bit of mix and match, but across the board, if you want to think about the game holistically, I would say jungle, right? Jungle and support, if you want to think about the game holistically.
Yep.
I would say if you want a little bit more carry oriented and you want to still think about the game holistically, mid lane. Then if you want to be more of like a carry and be more focused on what's in front of you, like 80 carry, top and 80 carry. And then if you want to be more of a facilitator, probably more jungle again and support. But then again, if you don't want to be a full facilitator, but still like be in the center of the map, then there's mid lane. Like you can, like there was there's a lot of overlap between support, mid and jungle, I feel like.
I agree, yeah. But yeah, so if I was to think of the maze analogy, if I'm playing again like Udyr jungle, I want to play at top. That's 2 different. It's not the same maze you're going down, even though it's the same champ.
Yeah, it's like you
Like I'm playing Udyr in the top position, the top floor of the game, or I'm playing Udyr in the jungle floor of the game.
The way I view it is like to using that analogy, it's like you're going into the maze with the same armor, the same equipment, but the challenges you face will be quite different.
That's right.
So it's like instead of maybe one maze is like really tight and like you have to like kind of go sideways, and the other one like you have to like swim through it or some shit.
Yeah.
So it's like the armor's the same though. You know, the equipment that you went in with were the same.
Just another nailed analogy from me, Curtis.
You know, I made up that analogy on the spot last episode, by the way.
You're a machine, dude.
Like I never thought about it before.
You're literally just an analogy pumping out, analogy factory, dude. Like Curtis, just like someone just lock Curtis in a room for an hour and Curtis just pump out like there's like a situation, right? They just give some situations on a screen. You just gotta like pump out an analogy.
That would be a great exercise.
That would be a good exercise.
We would use that.
We should maybe do that. Collect a bunch of clips. Like your clips channel, is that good?
What do you mean? The clips channel for what? Yeah, I have a clips channel, but what do you mean?
Like get all those clips and like try and get an analogy from every single one of them.
Yeah. That'd be great. You could sit there. Yeah.
We just came up with a content idea, Curtis. Or we attempt to like have analogies or something. Make us a broken by concept episode or something. All right, next question here is from Timmifer.
I love Timmifer.
God, we love Timmifer on the Broken by Concept podcast.
We do.
Tyler's email is hopefully a refreshing perspective on the end of season. So let's how about we end this podcast with a refresh?
Okay.
So refreshing end of the season. Hello, Curtis and Nathan. After hearing you speak recently on the podcast about how there is some frustration and cramming you've observed with your programs with people trying to reach their end of season goals, I thought I would write to relate how the end of my season is going. It's been discussed on the podcast before, but this season has been a fantastic one for me. After a multi-year hiatus, having previously been a Diamond 1 trick, I returned to the game and was stuck in Gold 1, failing my promos to Platinum 5 separate times. I found Curtis's content and joined the MLA, which wasn't known as the MLA at the time. From there, found BBC and resonated with the lessons you two try to convey every day, every week. Everything started to make so much sense, how little the losses matter in comparison with the learning, how little mistakes are not important compared to the big picture of why they're happening, and so on. My goal for the season was to make it to Diamond 4 without using Dyna at all, and I achieved that only in April. I reset my goal to make it to Diamond 1, which is higher than I've ever peaked back in my league-addicted college days. Back then, I was playing 14 hours a day or more, and I achieved this goal in August. Since then, I've been filled with a sense of contentment and completion. I've not felt much like playing since achieving more than I ever thought possible. As a result of this, I've decayed all the way from Diamond 1 to Platinum 1. So he has just... He got his goal, he won his championship, and he's just... went back into his home, just ate all his food, got really sloppy, lazy, just like, I just made it. I'm just the best. I'm the greatest. This might sound like a complete disaster to you and some of the listeners. Only a couple of games could have kept me in Diamond 1 and led me to receiving that juicy Diamond border and Diamond 1 tag on my OPGG profile. But I wanted to tell you about how okay I feel with this happening. I know what I've achieved this season, how much I've learned, the processes I've built that I can apply any type of future learnings. I witnessed with my own eyes how I can improve at things with a plan and hypothesis, hard work and consistency. I know the relationships I've made and the interactions I've had in the MLA and how they've also helped me to grow as a man, boyfriend, and hopefully future father. I don't need the end of season rewards to confirm that I learned any of this. I feel content. In a way, it reminds me of some of the Buddhist monks that build elaborate and beautiful sand mandalas and then intentionally destroy them. Didn't know that. I feel like in a way, I also feel like I've graduated from the academy. He's graduated from MLA. Even though there are more and more lessons I could learn and so much optimization I could develop in my laning and gameplay. Anyway, now I'm just rambling on, but I hope this was a unique end of perspective, was refreshing and makes you two smile and also feel some fulfillment.
It's so beautiful, man.
I love it.
Like that, what he's gotten out of the game is so unique. Like in a way, that is that's what we're all about. He's encapsulated everything. He's not doing it for anyone else but himself.
Yep.
He's followed a process. He's developed a growth mindset and did things that he never thought was possible, which develops confidence and helps him, just figure out more about himself. Who knows what else he could apply these learnings to in any other endeavor. He showed that if he puts in work and follows process, he can get something. And now he can really get into details and enjoy his craft even more. He can see how there's all these other, even though he's reached his goal, like he's got a broadened sense of the game. And now he's got a beautiful hobby that he doesn't have to prove jack shit to anyone else.
Yeah, it could just be a good hobby for him now. He achieved, he went hard, and now he just plays just to, he's got all this game knowledge and stuff. He's like just chips away.
And he chips away now, just chipping away. Just like getting the sculpture, just smoothing the edges. That's all he's doing now. I mean, that's just such a beautiful story. You can honestly make a movie out of it.
That's right. I can't wait for the Netflix
documentary.
It'll be on Netflix, dude. Timmifer's Journey.
Timmifer's Journey on Netflix out now, out in December.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, man, and that's what motivates us. To get those sorts of results.
Yep.
To change people's in a way, changing his life in a way.
I mean, again, has built the confidence. He knows he's had a process, gotten good at something because of that process, not because of anything else.
Not because of talent, not because of any cheat code, nothing.
Put in the work, got the result, and then that, sky's
and in a way that, like, again, with no Diana, like he did it to Diamond 4 with no Diana on purpose.
Yeah.
That was just so, I admire that so much. I mean, how easy would it have been for him
just
to apply the learnings? Like, I can do this with Diana, I've got that champ mastery. No, getting uncomfortable. He got uncomfortable, done it through another champ pool, which is just not easy. I mean, it's just no one does that, And you see how confident he sounds as well with the way he's talking?
He doesn't
that is some powerful shit.
Yeah.
That is some powerful shit.
He's not insecure about his current rank, nothing.
No insecurity. He's expressing his best self.
This is what I did. This is what I got out of the game, and here we are. Love it.
I mean, he's like the figurehead of the MLA,
right,
honestly. You can't get a better journey than that, really. That's what it's all about.
We should get a picture of Timmifer.
We should do... No, that's a great idea.
Is that a great idea?
We should get, like, photos, like, print out photos of, like, the... like, people who've, like, followed the BBC mantra. Yeah. And, like, we could put their faces on.
That's a good idea.
That's
get some
so
stuff.
cool.
Yeah. Get Ishan on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get Niall on there.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I got lots to do from SoloQ.
Yeah. And we get, like, their faces and, like, little printouts.
Do we want their faces or their IGNs?
Well, it's up to them. Maybe we put that in the comment. People can say in the comments.
That's good. That'll make our podcast a little bit more meaningful.
Well, maybe they want their face to be famous, dude.
Yeah, be famous. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing that, Tim. I mean, it's such a beautiful
We've definitely got
story.
some legends of the Broken by Concept podcast community.
Yeah. And this is it. When we go to, inevitably we're going to go to NA, and we got to speak to these people in real life.
That's right. Yeah, they'll be on the podcast.
And sitting on the couch in NA somewhere.
Yeah.
EU.
Yeah. EU. Do our tour.
Do our tour. Yeah.
Tour around the world. A Broken by Concept podcast tour.
That would be so good. That'd be so awesome. Any more? We're doing another.
That's it. We're going to end the season there.
So, we haven't got many episodes left, Nathan.
In terms of
the end of the year, dude.
Yeah, we don't.
Some scary shit. There's going to be new season soon. There's going to be new patch notes. We're going to be talking about the new patch, how the game's been evolving. This is a bit of a wind down.
We've got to do a Christmas special. We're thinking of doing a story time.
Yeah, this one's going to be a banger.
People
are so hyped in my Discord about
really?
Yeah,
I can't believe I thought no one would care, dude.
No, people want to hear these stories.
Okay.
Because they know we've been holding back.
Okay.
They know. And we hold our tongue on a lot of stuff. But that's the episode where we're going ham.
Yeah, we've had a lot over our 10 years in the League of Legends.
Me and Nathan the other day went for a walk.
We did a trial run, dude.
We did a trial run. We're talking about some of the stories.
It was funny. We were laughing. We're in tears.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like we don't realize because we don't talk about them that much.
You sort of just forget.
You just forget, and then you like think about like that actually happened.
That happened, yeah.
That happened.
So in for us.
Is that going to be the Christmas one or the New Year's one?
We'll do Christmas. Christmas.
That's the Christmas one.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we'll do the New Year's one as like the questions one then, because we've got to do one. It's like
we're going to do a season 12 rank guide again.
A season 12 rank guide.
Yep.
Okay.
An updated one from our last season rank guide.
Okay.
That's going to be like a thing every year.
So this will be the last. Is this the last episode of the season?
No, I think the season ends next Monday.
10 days or 9 days?
7 days.
7 days.
Yeah.
So it'll be the next episode
is the end of the season.
With the end of the season.
Yeah.
So this is.
Yes, correct.
This is the last episode of season.
That's right.
11.
Yeah.
We're in season 11, season 12.
Yeah, we're in season 11.
Right.
Season 12's next season, guys.
Right, okay.
Remember, it's always aligned with the year.
It's the year. So lucky. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool. All right.
Good work, everyone. Let's wrap up this season.
Finish it off nicely. Go hard or go home. I've got a few people actually saying they're trying to get their last ranks up. So just go hard. You're not going to lose anything. Right. Just go hard or go home.
Yep, I like it. See you guys next episode.